Hey, I'm Jacob Critch. I'm a music producer, I'm a software developer, and co-founder of Songflow. My favorite K-pop group is Six.
Jacob, you are a Billboard-charting music producer, you're a senior software developer, and you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
Could you tell me a little bit about how did you get into the music producing industry?
Well, I basically started producing music like back when I was 14 or so. I'm
Yeah.
25 now. And I was into like instruments somewhat before that, like piano and guitar. And then I was like, I really want to try recording ideas and songs. I wasn't really too interested in like playing from sheet music or like learning songs to play or whatever. I just
Yeah.
wanted to like come up with my own stuff. So I basically had a little keyboard. I was messing around. Then when I was 14, I got like proper recording equipment, like a
Yeah.
laptop and speakers and yeah, I just learned from scratch basically. And I started out at like producing like rap beats for some of my friends that were like doing, local rappers or whatever. And I was
Yeah.
making this hip hop beats. But really, what I like is like R&B and pop music. So, and I started getting into watching all these videos of like somebody in the studio. There's these videos of like Justin Timberlake, and you can watch like hours of footage of him making the Justified album. So with like, who's that producer? Timbaland and all those guys like
yeah.
in the studio. I watched every song get made that way, and I watched like Justin Bieber in the studio. He has like the making of his albums, and I would like kind of like look at what the vocal producer guy was doing in terms of how they were putting together the vocals and stuff. So then I kind of got into like wanting to record singing.
Yeah.
And then out of the blue, I just like started recording some singing on the tracks that I was making. And yeah, I just kind of kept trying to get better.
So when you were then trying to decide, between kind of pursuing like your music career or kind of going through computer science, was that a decision you made fully on your own, or did you have, influences who were like, okay, maybe this is a better path for you to go into?
Well, it's actually funny. So my dad, like creative type person he is, he was like, just go to Berkeley. Like, what are you going to go to a normal university for? Like, you shouldn't do that. So he's like the opposite of most parents. So he was like pushing me to go to Berkeley, like a music school,
Yeah.
and like goof around and play instruments and stuff. And I was like, no, I really want to go do computer science at MUN. It's like kind of the reverse situation. But yeah, that's how that went down.
Cool dad you have.
Yeah.
So you were self-taught. So did you
Yeah.
teach yourself how to use when you got the laptop? Were you like, okay, well, I guess I'll learn how to use all of the equipment.
Yeah. Like I basically was just playing around with different softwares and stuff since even before that I was playing around with that stuff. Like how do I get auto-tune and stuff like that. And yeah, I got Logic Pro and I just kind of was watching some videos and learned from different people. That was the biggest way I learned, it's self-taught kind of, but really I started like connecting with all these people and learning little tips along the way from like collaborating with people or different things like that. That's what really taught me, because there's no real like, there's not that many good resources for learning how to make like a real radio pop sound or stuff, right? But I
Yeah.
joined some like online groups. There's a Facebook group called Make Pop Music,
Uh-huh.
and it's like 15,000 pop producers, right? And they'd be posting, and I would just randomly message or make posts on there, and I'll get connected with a few different like producers, and basically doing project with them. I just learned little tricks from them along the way.
So how what did your first song look like? So you reached out. I know that you've had #1 hits in Slovakia and the Czech Republic. Like
Yeah.
how did those happen?
So basically, from that group, I met a guy named Ricky, Ricky Shikluna, he's from Malta, and he's also from London. But anyways, we connected on this group, and we just started doing some songs together. And he had owned a studio in Malta, a recording studio. So he was essentially getting clients to come to him and I want XYZ song, or I have this idea. And then he'd produce it out into a hit, right? And
Yeah.
so we did a couple songs, and then quickly he was like, hey, we should like team up on these. So that's how I started doing client productions. Some were more independent, some were a bit more like signed to a label or whatever. But there was this artist that we knew from another artist. It was independent, but he wanted to do like a big kind of single and try to get noticed and stuff, named Matej Smutny. and he was the drummer of
Sounds
another
like a
artist.
star.
Yeah, right. And basically, he came to us with an idea called Psycho Love, and he was like a voice note, some guitar, and yeah, me and Ricky just produced it out to this big like anthem, Imagine Dragons kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, he released it by himself with a video, and then Warner Music in Slovakia basically noticed it, or Warner Music in Czech Republic, I should say. And yeah, they basically like signed him off the back of that song, and then released it again, as the label. And I think now it has like over 2 million plays on all platforms or something, and it went to like #1 on radio on the different charts and stuff there. Yeah, so that song did very well. It continues to be popular today, actually. Yeah.
So K-pop. So I mean, I know you said you liked very kind of poppy
Yeah.
music and kind of the ballads and so have you always been a K-pop fan?
Yeah, I really like, mostly for the music of K-pop. I don't know all the different idols' names and all their, I'm not like a huge super fan in that way, but ever since I was younger, I really liked K-pop and J-pop, Asian, released music.
Hmm.
Mostly for the fact that the palette of the music is a little bit different. So there's a little bit more jazz influence and
Hmm.
some more colorful choices in terms of the production and the composition.
Yep.
Um, and I think that's what drew me to it. I'm someone that really cares about the melody and the harmony of a song and
Hmm.
the musical aspects of it. And Western pop music can be a little vanilla in terms of repetition, simple melodies. The most simple thing is what usually wins, and also a lot more of like a personal thing, like the artist's story, or it has to be from the heart. I think in K-pop, and what I'm drawn to 9 times out of 10 is just something that's melodically and harmonically very pleasant and surprising to listen to.
Hmm.
And I think they do that very well. That's what drew me into wanting to make it and listen to it. I listened to a lot of it as well.
So Songflow.
Right.
So could you tell us a little bit about what is Songflow and what's the problem that you're looking to address through Songflow?
Right. Well, Songflow is a very natural thing for me. So I co-founded it with my production partner I spoke about earlier, Ricky.
Yeah.
And we basically just wanted to create something to solve our own problem, because I was doing all these songs remotely, working with all these different people. But the tools we actually use to record and compose the music doesn't have any collaborative features. So you kind of have to export everything out and email things across, and you end up with different versions of the same song, essentially.
Mm.
And I thought that was not a very creative feeling way to work on a song, because when you're in the room together, you can have input in real time. So many like creative decisions get lost in this process of back and forth and waiting, and you lose some of the spark. So I wanted to create a product that would allow that to be a more real-time session, where you could work on a song remotely, but just as collaboratively as if you're in the same room, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is what the product is. It's a real-time collaborative editor for making music.
Do you think that there could be a point at which artists may say, well, couldn't I just get AI to just create my music for me? And, do I need a music producer anymore? Do you foresee that as a potential future?
Right. Well, the tools are there now to do that. So, like there's a company called Suno, for example, that you type in a prompt and it generates a full song with
Yeah.
vocals, lyrics, instrumentation. And it's pretty startling, many producers probably won't like seeing that.
Yeah.
I think actually this is an important distinction. Like we obviously thought about this as Songflow, and we do have AI on like the voice generation side of things.
Yeah.
Like if you want to sound like Justin Bieber or whatever, we have that.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between tools that are, completely generative music, and then there's tools that, could be used to assist in the creation of music.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a different place and time for like a completely generated song, and then like maybe some tools that a musician could use to generate things to like speed up their own creative process or get ideas. I think that's two kind of streams that'll diverge. I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing or a good thing that you can generate full songs. I think, terms of things like TV show scoring or sync, or if you just need background music for something, like it has many use cases.
Mm-hmm.
I don't foresee it like replacing what's on Spotify or Apple Music anytime soon, because I think people listen to music partly for like an emotional or personal reason, right? Like they're in the West, especially here, that people want to listen to the Billie Eilish song or the Justin Bieber song, right? And it's not because of the song. It's partly because of the song, but it's partly because of that person made the song.
Yeah.
So if everything is just a bunch of generated fake music that's coming out, I don't think that would be very popular. And I also think many of these generative AI music companies are actually being sued right now by all the record labels, because it's a very gray area on how you train data for AIs, right? Like, where does this data come from?
Yeah.
For all AI, right? Like, is it trained on all of the internet and for an LLM, or for music? Is it trained on all music, right?
Yeah.
And in many cases, yes, it is. And it is going through YouTube, and it is going through all these songs that are copyrighted. So the AI has to generate based on something. So I think that is across all of AI, that's going to be a major point of contention as well.
In the next 5 years, what do you kind of hope for whether it's your music industry, software, or Songflow? What does that look like for you?
I try to keep it somewhat vague. Right? I think,
say 25 because you got the big 3-0, you got the big 30.
Yep. I try not to set like very specific goals or anything like that. I think like you can't plan what's going to happen. Like it will take you so many twists and turns. So I really am liking like building companies and products, and like combining like the creativity with the technical aspect and like metrics and analytics to like I get a lot of joy seeing people like use something I created, or listen to something I made or whatever. So I think building a company is like the the businessy version of making a song or whatever. So I really like that. I like to continue like trying to get better in that, and like make better companies that make better products. I think is something I want to continue the next 5-10 years beyond. Musically, I'd really like to have a release by a group that has like a big cool music video, because none of the songs have had music videos yet, and I think it would be really cool to see them like doing choreography based on what I wrote.
This choreography is big in K-pop.
Oh yeah, you're basically writing for choreography, like 4 cool moments for them to do. That's what the whole song is based around. So
do you imagine what these dance moves could be when you're writing the song?
Yes, yeah. There's many like transitions and different sections that come in, and it sounds really like jarring if you're just listening to the song, right? Or you're making it. But what I kind of that's musically, it's a big lesson. My kind of mentor Daniel Kim. He's a Korean K-pop producer, legend guy, and he's like, you're not making the song for listening. You're making the song for performance. Okay. And it made a lot more sense after I started understanding that, and I try to put these moments in the song where I can imagine some drastic change happen or some move or some like dramatic moment. So that changed how I kind of write these songs a little bit.
So Jacob, thank you so much for your time today. I cannot wait to dance to the music video of the song that you'll produce in the future. I have no doubt in my mind. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.